Well, hello everybody. Bill Thornton, SoCal Saber here. Welcome, vinyl community. Thank you for stopping by. I wish we can get this channel growing a little bit more. Anybody have any recommendations? But anyway, the ones that do support me, I appreciate you all very, very much. This is the weekly review of what I listened to this week from the collections, from the album and CD collections, and stuff that went into the collections. Here's the first one that went into the collections. It came from that Whatnot bundle that I'm still working at. This is a 1970 LP. It's kind of a strange thing. This is the cover, and you put the album in there, and then all you see is the label. This is titled Rick Sings Nelson from 1970. And some of us older people remember Rick Nelson very well. Ozzie and Harriet show. And then he went on to become quite successful. What am I doing here? And there's nothing on the back. As I was saying, quite successful. He had quite a run in the 50s. In the 50s, he had 12 hits compared to 11 by Elvis. That's quite a statement there. We got a big poster here. It's got a little bit of a tear in it. I don't know what the heck. Sorry for the language. It's a really big poster of Rick Nelson. Put it again because it's old and right here it's starting to tear. And anyway, this was the 18th studio album by him and the Stone Canyon Band. It was the first album on which Rick Nelson wrote all of the songs. Here it is. This is pretty much folk and country. It debuted in the top LPs chart. And it remained on the chart for 2 weeks, but it's peaked at number 196. So it really wasn't liked by a lot of people. Unlike folk and country, I was expecting. I didn't know what they really expect. I guess it was just my mind. I was thinking that I was going to get more of the early hit type songs that he wrote, all of the pop songs back in the day, Garden Party and Hello Mary Lou or whatever those songs were, but they were pretty good. To me, the material was good, was okay. So the best I can do for Rick Nelson's album is Fair Plus. So that week started the week off with Rick Nelson Sings, a 1970 LP from the once previously pop king of the 50s. Pop fought with Elvis for a lot of stuff in the 50s. I don't know why I keep centering myself and I keep moving over. Anyway, all right, the next one we got was part of the Whatnot editions. This one here is a 1971 reissue of the 1970 release, The Worst of Jefferson Airplane. This one's still in shrink. This was the first compilation album by the rock band. I have 11 LPs, 1 CD, and a 3 CD box set in the collection. I also have a video out there on the Jefferson Airplane box set. I'm losing my mind here a little bit. We get settled in here. Okay, we got no winner on this one here. Came in from the collection. The title, The Worst, is ironic. Is the album? It's ironic, as the album features all of Jefferson Airplane's hit singles up to that point. Peaked at number 12 in the Billboard 200, and has since gone platinum. These were the songs for each of there's 2 or 3 songs from each of their first 6 albums. And this was put out, if I remember correctly, most of the band members were in a hiatus from Jefferson Airplane, off doing their single things, their single materials. That's why it didn't come out on Grunt Records. It came out on RCA. RCA decided, well, in the meantime, while there's nothing going on with Jefferson Airplane, let's put this together. So they put it together. And they titled it The Worst of Jefferson Airplane, which it definitely is not. And so, as a JA fan, I wasn't happy with the vinyl as far as the popping and so forth. So I might put that back through for another spin clean in there. But love the songs. So even when I was down on the vinyl, I'm going to go VG for the week for the 1971 RCA release, The Worst of Jefferson Airplane. Yeah, the worst. Pretty cool, huh? All right. Still digging into that whatnot box. I got a lot more to go too. Some of them are pretty good. Some of them, are decent additions to the collection. This one here is a 1979 LP titled The Best of Eddie Rabbitt by Eddie Rabbitt. I have 2 LPs in the collection by Eddie Rabbitt. There's no inner on it. This was the first compilation album by the American country music artist Eddie Rabbitt. I remember driving across the country in 1981 with my daughter and her mom, and I only had a cassette player in the car. And going them, we didn't have satellite radio, so we had the radio stations in and out and in and out. So I had a few cassettes, and Eddie Rabbitt was one of them. And that's the one that he had. I Love a Rainy Night, and I must have heard that 20 times coming across the country. But it was pretty cool. This album here has what I call crying in your beer albums. Well, my girl left me. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. but not the slow violin type. So it's very tolerable in that. And take a look at the album. Played pretty well. Looks very nice. So, because of the material, I guess because of the songs, I didn't know what I was expecting when I got this, but I got it. I'm going to give it a G+ for the week. That's The Best of Eddie Rabbitt from 1979, the very first compilation album by him. All right. Okay, now the next one is new to the collection, but this is one of the albums that I picked up in my visit to the In-Groove last month. Let me get her open here. These ones that close, these sealable ones sometimes get me going. Okay, and this is the 2024 reissue of the 1974 album, which would have been making it 50 years. Secret Treaties by Blue Oyster Cult. Like I said, 2024 reissue. I have 5 LPs in the collection by Blue Oyster Cult. We do have an inner in here. A color picture of that aircraft. That aircraft is a ME-262 fighter airplane. There's a song on here called ME-262. Also, ME-262 was the first jet fighter airplane ever created. It was made by the Germans during the war, and they put it up. They did a lot of damage, so we could catch up with them with their technology. Like that song's the fourth song on this album. I've had this on my want list for a while. And the reason it was on my want list because I had some other Blue Oyster Cult ones. And there's a lot of times when I pick up something by a group, I'll do an album ranking search. And I found this one near the top, on the top or near the top on quite a few different rankings for Blue Oyster Cult. So it went onto my list. I saw it several times used, but it was either the cover or the album was in bad shape, and I just wouldn't pay that kind of money. And this is their third studio album by the American rock band. It spent 14 weeks in the U.S. album charts, peaking at number 53. The cover, with art by Ron Lesser, depicts the band standing beside and sitting on a German Me-262 fighter aircraft. The scene was inspired by the song of the same name. Picked up, it's in the collection. I definitely do not have any regrets. I liked it a lot, especially how the songs, there was no big breaks in between the songs. They'd like transition, rolled right in, one right after another. And that was kind of nice when it wasn't like a concept album. All right. So without any major pauses. So I'm going to give it VG for the week. That's Secret Treaties, the 2024 reissue of the 1974 album by Blue Oyster Cult. Well, we're moving along here. We're getting into time for the CDs. The first one out of the collection this week is number 181. And it is it's the album titled Talk, T-A-L-K, by Yes. I have 5 LPs and 2 CDs in the collection by Yes. And this was their 14th studio album. Yes, the English progressive rock band. This one was pretty progressive all the way. Then we got a nice little book in here. It come out and the album underperformed. Now this is what's curious to me because I looked this up. This is quoting what's written about it. It's underperformed commercially upon release, reaching number 20 in the UK and 33 in the US. Why would anybody unless it didn't sell a lot, okay? But why would you call that underperformed if you're ranking it does? It must have been a lot of people that liked it. That happens with a lot of albums I'm finding out as I do a little bit of research on them after I listen to them. Okay, but this was the first album that they were signed to was Victory Records. A friend of theirs had created an independent label for Victory Records, and unfortunately, Victory Music went bankrupt at the same time, which affected the album's potential for success. I'm sure they promoted it by going on tour after it was released and so forth, but that didn't help anybody. But I always find it weird when they say unsuccessful and they rank them so high. They did rank so high, so they must have been selling by a lot of people in order to get ranked that high. It's a nice looking little CD cover. I found this to be mostly mellow prog rock, which was okay. So for this week here, I'm going to give this one not my best by him. I have some other stuff that's better, but for this week, I'm going to give it a G+. This is the Yes album, Talk, T-A-L-K, from 1994. All right. Then the second CD, which we do every week, was number 182. And this is a motion picture soundtrack with various artists from the motion picture Swing Kids. I don't remember why I bought it, and I can only think because I was listening to, there's one big song on there was Sing, Sing, Sing. I think my daughter's dance class was doing something to that routine after this came out, so that might have been the reason I bought it, because it's pretty much a lot of like swing music swing dance type music, which I am not a real big fan of swing music. I'm not a moderate fan of them either, of it either. So, because of that, because it was okay, I'm going to rate it a G for the week. I'll probably never pull it out and play it again. I played it this time because it was the next one. It was their turn to get heard. It's the whole purpose of this long project I got going on. Before I get to the last one, I'd say, if there's anything that the BC people out there would like me to see me do with the material, with the albums and so forth, let me know. I'll take a look at it. If I can do it, I will. If I can't, well, then I'll let you know why. But I always do consider everything that's recommended. Okay, now the last one for the week. This one got the music back on track as far as I was concerned. This is the 1978 album by Boston, Don't Look Back. It's the second studio album by the American rock band. It is a gatefold. It was supposed to have an inner with lyrics, but the inner's gone, so heaven knows since 78 what happened to it in all my travels and parties and so forth. Okay. This was the second studio album by Boston, and the album reached #1 in both the US and Canada, and #9 in the UK. The title track helped with the album's success, reaching #4 in 1978 on the Billboard's Hot 100 charts. It's played very well for its age. So 78, 22, 48 years old this year. I used to always try to keep my music in pretty decent shape. I didn't do all this good stuff back then because I didn't know I was supposed to. So, but now I do protect them as I'm working my way through them. I removed the old paper covers from them, and this album sold over 1 million copies in 10 days after it was released. In my opinion, this was a great follow-up to their debut album titled Boston. The only drawback I have to this whole album is that it's a little too short for me. 8 songs, and they're not all that lengthy. But that's the only drawback. So with that drawback, I'm still going to give it VG for the week. That is Don't Look Back, the 1978 album by Boston. Well, now it's to let you know the 2 that I picked this week that I enjoyed the most. And I don't think you'll have to think too hard of what I picked. But I am going with Secret Treaties by Blue Oyster Cult, their 2024 reissue of their 74 album. And I am going with the one I just talked about, Don't Look Back by Boston from 1978. So, go on there and hit that like button. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe, help the channel grow some more, and let me know what your ideas on channel growth and anything you'd like me to do. So, Cal Saber saying, take care of yourselves out there. Be kind to each other. Stay safe.